Welcome to Little Craft Nest. My name is Nisha and today I'm going to be showing you how to use Cricut's Infusible Ink sheets. Infusible ink sheets are much different than using vinyl or HTV, as vinyl sticks on top of a surface whereas the ink infuses into the material. It's similar with a piece of paper. If you were to put a sticker on the piece of paper, you'd be able to feel that sticker. However, if you were to get an ink stamp and put that ink on the paper, you would not feel that ink. So that is what we are going to be doing with a pillowcase today. I will be using my heat press today for this project. However, you can also use your Cricut EasyPress. Today I'm going to be applying infusible ink to one of Cricut's blanks here. We have the pillow cover blank and it's made out of 100% polyester. Remember, when using infusible ink, you're going to want to make sure your blank is a minimum of 50% polyester in order to get your vibrant colors to show. And here's the infusible ink I'm going to be using today. This box comes with black and it also comes with a red checker pattern. You can buy boxes with different types of infusible ink in them. So this box here includes 4 different sheets and you can see the types of infusible ink that it comes with, or you can also buy boxes with just one color in them as well. I'm going to open up our box here and show you what it looks like. So the infusible ink comes wrapped in this black plastic. So we're going to open up this tube here. And it comes with our 2 sheets of infusible ink. So we have our red checkers, and then we also have our black. And you might be thinking, that doesn't look like black, it looks rather dull. And the sheets will look dull when you open them, but when you do press them onto a surface, they will become vibrant colors. Our package also comes with butcher paper. Now, you want to make sure you're using butcher paper. You don't want to use a Teflon sheet or parchment paper, so use a butcher paper that Cricut includes in its infusible ink package. You also don't want to handle it too much. You don't want to get your greasy fingers all over it, affecting the ink. I am not going to be using our plaid today, so I'm going to roll this back up and put it back into the black little bag that it came in so it stays fresh for next time. Let's head over to Cricut's Design Space to cut out our image for our pillow. Here's the design I made in Cricut Design Space for the pillow that I'm making. So let's go over and press Make It. Before we get this cut out, we're going to have to mirror our image. So let's go underneath our mat here and click on the mirror button and then press Continue. Now we're going to go over to Browse All Materials and we're going to type in Infusible and select Infusible Ink Transfer Sheet and then press Done. Now I did a test cut earlier and I found that the default setting cut my infusible ink sheets too deep, so I'm going to change my pressure to less pressure. So one thing to remember is you may want to do a test cut, just cut out a little star or heart and make sure that you're not cutting all the way through the sheet. So now we can load our mat and get this cut out. So I'm going to be placing my infusible ink sheet onto my green mat. And one thing you'll notice is this material is much thicker than your iron-on vinyl. And because I don't want to put my hands on it too much, I'm going to be using my brayer here to smooth it onto my mat. I find the brayer really helps it stick well right onto the mat. It's also great for using with your other vinyls as well. Also, make sure your ink is facing up. You don't want the ink facing the sticky side of your mat. To take our infusible ink off our mat, I'm going to flip it upside down and we're going to peel the mat off our infusible ink sheet. Now there's some pieces you can see where I didn't cut out, so we can cut this right off and save these pieces for another project down the road. Now to weed this out, we are not going to be using weeding tools. The first thing I like to do is just kind of wrinkle your paper back and forth just to help lift the design up a little bit. Again, you don't want to be touching it too much, especially if you have clammy fingers. So if you do, you can put a pair of cotton gloves on while you're weeding this out. If your hands are very moist, you may end up disturbing the ink and you won't get as vivid of a design on your surface. So to start weeding, I'm going to just bend my sheet back and pull away from the design. And now we can see the carrier sheet underneath there. So we're just going to rip away all the negative. And do this carefully. You can see how I peeled the ink right off the sheet here. You don't want to do that for your actual design, but if you do that on the negative spaces, that is okay. I just love the crinkly sound it makes while we're weeding here. It's actually a lot of fun to weed. So we got the outside off, and now we got to work on the inside here. And if you have too much here in the way, you can just cut it off so it doesn't keep sticking back down on you. You can also get a weeding tool out to help you, but just make sure you're touching the negative space and not the image that you will be using. To get the middle pieces out, you're just going to want to bend and pull those pieces out. So let's open up our blank pillowcase here. And before we put anything on it, we're going to prep it first. So you'll want to take a lint roller and just get any extra fibers or dirt off your pillowcase first. And then I'm going to give it a quick press in my heat press just to take any of the excess moisture out of the fabric. If you're using an EasyPress, you're also going to want to preheat your fabric for 15 seconds. I'm just going to fold my pillowcase in half to make a crease in my pillowcase so I can find the center. And before we press our design, I'm just going to open up the pillowcase and I'm going to put 4 pieces of white cardstock inside so the ink doesn't bleed through to the other side of our pillowcase. So our center mark is right here. So I'm going to grab my design and also fold it so I know where the center is as well. And then I can line that up and put my design on straight. You may also want to get a ruler and just measure to make sure it's in the right spot. So you're going to want to measure each side to make sure you have it on straight. Every time I eyeball, I seem to put my design on Cricut. So I do like to measure, especially since this is expensive material I'm using and I don't want to have to throw this project out. So when your design is where you want it to be, just smooth out that carrying sheet so it lies flat. And then I'm going to set this on my heat press and we're going to lay the butcher paper on top. I have set my heat press to 185 degrees Celsius and we're going to press for 40 seconds and we're going to do a light pressure press. If you're using an EasyPress, you're also going to want to set the temperature on your EasyPress to 185 degrees Celsius or 360 degrees Fahrenheit. But instead of pressing for 40 seconds, you're going to be pressing for 120 seconds. You're also going to want to make sure when you're using an EasyPress to put the press directly on top without moving it around. If you accidentally move your EasyPress around on top of your design, you do risk the chance of smudging your image. And if you ever forget how long you should be pressing for or what temperature you should be pressing at, go over and visit Cricut's heat press guide and it will give you the full detailed instructions there. And I'll leave a link down below in the description for Cricut's heat guide. I'm going to remove this gently from my heat press and let it cool slightly, but not completely, and then I'm going to slowly remove the carrying sheet. And here's our design and it looks amazing. You'll notice now that our color is more vibrant than when we saw it on the sheet, and the ink is baked right into our fabric. Now we just need to add a pillow cushion inside and it's ready to throw on a couch. I get my pillow inserts from IKEA because I find that is the most cost-effective route to go. Thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions, feel free to write them in the comments below and I will try to get back to you. Don't forget to press that subscribe button for more crafting and Cricut tutorials, and I hope to see you on more crafting adventures.